The medical staff of Zenith Station's trauma center had seen many things in their careers, but they had never seen a corpse sit up and ask for breakfast. 3 days earlier, the mining freighter Distant Hope had limped into dock with catastrophic hull damage. The crew of mixed species had been caught in an asteroid collision that tore through their vessel like paper. Most survived. One did not, or so they thought. Jake Morrison, the ship's human engineer, had been found floating in the depressurized cargo bay. No pulse, no brain activity. Core temperature at near freezing. The Thalaxian medical team declared him dead within minutes of retrieval and placed his body in the station morgue, as per galactic health protocol. The death certificate was filed. His crew had already held a memorial service. His family on Earth had been notified. Then, on the third day, morgue attendant Zik Seth heard tapping from inside Storage Unit 17. The screaming that followed brought half the security team running. By the time they arrived, Jake Morrison was sitting upright on the examination slab, wrapped in a medical sheet, looking confused and extremely hungry. "Where am I?" he croaked, his voice hoarse. "And why am I freezing?" Dr. Kellenix, the station's chief physician, was summoned immediately. The four-armed Varelian stood in the doorway, her medical scanner trembling in her grasp. Every reading she took contradicted the last. "This is impossible," she muttered, running another scan. "Your cellular structure shows massive trauma consistent with vacuum exposure and hypothermia. Your tissues were necrotic. You had no heartbeat for 73 hours. You were clinically, legally, and biologically dead." Jake rubbed his arms, trying to warm up. "Yeah, well, I feel pretty alive. Hungry, but alive. Got any food around here that isn't, for aliens?" The medical bay erupted into chaos. Researchers from every species descended upon the station. Jake found himself poked, prodded, and scanned by dozens of curious xenobiologists, all trying to understand what they were witnessing. The Thalaxian head researcher, Dr. Vun, finally presented his findings to the assembled scientific committee, with Jake sitting awkwardly in the corner, eating his fourth meal. "Humans," Dr. Vun began, "possess what we're now calling catastrophic resilience protocols. Their biology doesn't simply shut down when faced with lethal conditions. It hibernates." He displayed Jake's cellular scans. When exposed to vacuum and extreme cold, his body entered a state we've never documented before. His metabolism slowed to virtually nothing. His cells began producing cryoprotective proteins. His brain essentially rerouted all non-essential functions to preserve core tissues. He didn't die, he waited. A Corthan scientist raised an appendage. But the recovery? How'd he simply wake up? That's the remarkable part, Dr. Vun continued. Once his body temperature normalized and oxygen was reintroduced, his cells began a cascade repair sequence. Damaged tissues were systematically rebuilt, neural pathways reconnected. It's as if humans carry an automatic resurrection protocol. Jake spoke up from his corner. "My grandpa used to tell stories about people falling through ice back on Earth. Said he once pulled a kid out of a frozen lake who'd been under for almost an hour. Kid was fine after they warmed him up. We just figure it was luck." Dr. Kellenix shook her head in amazement. "It wasn't luck. It was biology. Most species in the galaxy evolved on stable, moderate worlds. Humans evolved on a death world with extreme temperature variations, atmospheric inconsistencies, and constant environmental threats. Your bodies learned to survive the unsurvivable." The implications spread throughout the galactic medical community like wildfire. Emergency protocols were rewritten. The definition of death itself was amended to include species-specific criteria. Human rescue operations were extended from minutes to days. Jake became an overnight celebrity, giving interviews and enduring countless medical studies. The crew of the Distant Hope was both relieved and slightly embarrassed. They'd already divided his belongings and drunk his private whiskey stash. 6 weeks later, as Jake prepared to return to active duty, Dr. Kellenix approached him with a gift, an updated medical alert bracelet. "What's it say?" Jake asked. She smiled, a gesture she'd learned from studying human expressions. "It says, not dead, just resting. Check back in 72 hours. Jake laughed and clasped it around his wrist. As he walked toward the docking bay, he overheard two Thalaxia nurses whispering. "Did you hear? They're adding humans to deep space rescue teams now." "Of course they are,"